Today we're going to talk about gasoline versus diesel in the GMC Denalis and which is best for you. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome to the Full Octane Garage. Today we're going to have an interesting topic. We've had a lot of discussion on our 2500 GMC versus a 1500 GMC, basically 3/4 ton versus half ton. I've had both. I started out with a 2015 Sierra 2500 Denali 4-wheel drive crew cab, and I always thought I wanted a diesel truck because I pulled a car trailer, and the kind of car trailer I pull, we're talking a moderately sized car trailer. It's a 3,000 pound trailer, probably a 20-foot trailer with about a 4,000 pound car. So we're talking about 7,000 pounds worth of payload, maybe 8,000. So it's not a huge amount for the diesel because, you know, the diesel's rated at 13,000 pounds. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'll never wear that out. And so I went ahead and I bought the diesel. It was actually a 2015 that I bought in 2014, and you know, this is the actual build sheet. It was had a $63,000 sticker, $63,520. You know, I had the 373 rear gears, gross vehicle rating 10,000 pounds, off-road package, Z51 package. I had the 6.6 V8 turbo diesel with a Allison 6-speed transmission. So it was a fine truck. I had a good time with it. I probably put about 30,000 miles on it all the way up to 2018. Actually, it was the end of 2017 when I traded it. And the problem I had with the truck was, for me, I was used to driving a shorter truck first off. This particular truck, when you buy a diesel 2500, you cannot get the 5-foot box. You have to get the 6.5-foot box, which adds almost a foot to the truck. So, you know, a diesel truck is 20 feet long, right at 20 feet long, and if you get the shortest configuration on the 1500 Denali, you're down to 19.1 feet. So you take off, you know, about 11 inches. Big difference when you're trying to do turning radiuses. And the other thing is that the 2500 has a worm gear steering box, and it's got heavy-duty components, so it cannot turn as sharply. Where the 1500 has electronic power steering, and it has a pretty good turning radius comparatively. Where I navigate my trailer, I have to turn around in my driveway, and with the 1500 shorter truck configuration, I can actually turn it around in the driveway with my 2500. I was saddened to find out that I could not, so I did an awful lot of backing and maneuvering to get the trailer turned around. You know, and I was thinking that trailering fuel economy was going to be a big difference. You always hear with the diesels that somebody's pulling a 8,000 pound trailer and they're getting 17 or 18 miles to the gallon. Heck, even 15 I would have been happy with. But in my particular experience, I would find myself getting about 11 miles to the gallon. I didn't get much less than that. Once in a while I'd get 10.5, but traditionally I get 11.5, no matter what I did. When I unhooked the trailer, I kind of expected that I would get a little bit better fuel economy around town. To my surprise, I found out that I was getting pretty consistently, you know, I'm hard on it. I do accelerate, heavy accelerations a lot. I got about 14. The best I ever got was 15, and that was on a really, really good day. On the highway, going 75, 80 miles an hour, I would probably get about 17. Again, 18 on the very best day without a trailer. Then comes the component of emissions, With the truck, with the diesel truck, again, to my surprise, I was thinking old diesels, you just put diesel in it, you have to change the fuel filter periodically, things of that nature, a much lesser maintenance vehicle. To my surprise, I found out there's a lot more complexity to the new diesels and their emission systems. You'll hear the term DEF fluid, and it's diesel exhaust fluid. And the GMC requires, actually all modern diesel trucks seem to require DEF fluid. It has a 5-gallon container tank for DEF fluid in a very, very inconvenient location to fill under the hood. And about every 5,000 miles, you have to fill that tank up. I was finding that about every 3,000 miles, I was having to fill the tank up, even though they said you should get about 5,000 miles. So the negative to that is that it didn't have a diesel exhaust fluid gauge. It just basically told you, it had a warning when you get down to I don't know, a couple of thousand miles or 1,000 miles, and then it would warn you once it gets down to empty. And once it gets empty, then you go into limp mode. And once you restart the truck, you're limited to this 4 miles an hour or something just to get you off the road pretty much. So you never want to run it low like that. I never had that experience. But when you start looking at the cost of operations, even if you got a few miles to the gallon better pulling a trailer, the DEF fluid and extra emissions stuff seems to offset that, because also there's another thing on diesels, but basically it would go into regen mode, and regen mode means that about every 400 to 500 miles, usually about every tank of gas, it has a 9th injector that injects diesel fuel into the exhaust system. You'll notice the revs on the motor coming up a little bit. When they're a little bit higher, you'll know that it's in regen mode, and your fuel mileage goes down to about 8 miles to the gallon for about 10 or 15 miles if you drive it consistently, because it has to burn off a particle filter that's in the modern exhaust systems. Again, this was another surprise that I had no idea about when I was looking at a diesel vehicle. So, needless to say, at the end of 2017, the 2018 trucks were out, and I had never really bonded well with the diesel truck. I had never bonded well with the extra foot of truck. I will say it pulled fantastic. You could hardly feel that a truck was back there, a trailer was back there, because you had a pretty significant weight difference. So your diesel truck weighs almost 2,000 pounds more in the 3/4 ton configuration than a 1/2 ton gasoline version. So gasoline version's 5,400 pounds dry, the diesel's 7,400 pounds dry. Significant difference. And you can definitely feel that the trailer pushes you a little bit more in the lighter vehicle. So I went to my friendly GMC dealership, and when the 18s came out, it was actually the end of 17. I knew they needed to make numbers at the end of the year. I had a really, really nice diesel with about 30,000 miles on it. Again, it had an original sticker of $63,000. I went to them and I said, I would like to trade for a gas vehicle if you can make me an even trade. So we worked on it and we worked on it and we worked on it. And I got an equivalently equipped 2018 1500 gasoline version, same color, almost the same configuration. The only extra thing I actually got a sunroof, which I didn't have before. I got the spray-in bed liner, and it had a sticker price in 2018 sticker price of $60,615. And so they made me an even trade, so I felt, okay, I want to go back, and this is a 6.2 version of the truck, not a 5.3. I had to have a 6.2 because I wanted the extra horsepower. I wanted the 420 horsepower motor, 460 foot-pounds of torque. So they made me an even trade. I brought the truck home. I equipped it to pull my trailer, which weighs, like I said, about 7,000 pounds, maybe 7,500. And I went on my first trip. I found that on my first long haul trip, that I got almost identical fuel economy pulling that same trailer with my gasoline motor. I got about 11 miles to the gallon. Once in a while on some hills it would drop to 10, never below 10. When I drive the truck around town, I traditionally get about 17 miles to the gallon. Once in a while I'll drop to 16, and again, I drive it like a Corvette. I don't drive it like a car or a pickup truck. I drive it like a fast truck. So I'm hard on the gas. The other thing that I have found on the highway, I can get up to 22, 23 miles to the gallon on a long haul trip. So I even get better fuel economy on the long haul trip. So for the way that I use the vehicle, and I would recommend for anybody else that uses a vehicle in the fashion that I do more driving it around town. I use this vehicle, four-door vehicle, as our trip vehicle. So it gets quite good fuel economy on the highway. It gets reasonable fuel economy around town. With 420 horsepower, 460 foot-pounds of torque, it has more than enough power. I have an 8-speed automatic transmission versus the diesel had a 6-speed, and that's probably where I get a little extra fuel economy from. Now, do I feel the trailer a little bit more behind me? Yes, I do. Is it enough to make me want to go back and get another diesel? Absolutely not. Maybe if I was pulling the maximum towing capacity, which this truck has, is I believe 9,100 pounds. If I was getting close to that, you know, it may make a difference. Or if I pull more, if you pull more than 9,100 pounds, I would highly recommend doing the diesel, because you can't do it with the gasoline and effectively be in the spec of what the towing capacity is. So for my particular purposes, with these particular comparisons, I would say if you're pulling a car trailer or pulling some kind of load that's less than 8,000 pounds, less than even 9,000 pounds, I would highly recommend looking strongly at the gas motor. It's more enjoyable to drive around town. Being a foot shorter, it's a whole lot easier to park. The one thing that would sway me back to thinking about a diesel again is if I could get the diesel in the 1 foot shorter configuration. I would highly consider the diesel again from that purpose. The parking was the biggest thing, and driving it around town and being a manageable vehicle when you go to the malls. I just find that the lighter truck in the 1500 with the strong horsepower configuration, the 6.2, it's fast. I mean, 0 to 60 is, I believe, under 5 seconds. It's a fast truck. It's like driving a performance car sitting up high off the ground. So, again, you know, that's my experience. If you have any questions or if you have a different opinion, I'd love to dialogue with you. So please leave some comments below. Let's have a discussion. Let's help some others make the determination of which vehicle is best for them. Is it worth, you know, if I were to go buy the diesel today, you know, $60,000 price tag on the gas, I'm guessing the diesel's probably another $5,000 or $8,000. So you're looking at probably a $70,000 price tag in today's money on the diesel. You got to spend an awful lot on gas towing to make up that difference. The one positive about the diesel, as you saw with my trade, the resale value is phenomenal in a low mileage diesel. So that is the one plus about the diesel that I will probably miss, because in 3 or 4 years, if I do go to trade the gasoline vehicle, I am probably not going to find myself in a position where I'm going to be able to do an even trade like I did this time. So again, I absolutely love the 1500. I love the performance of it. The cab is identical to the 2500, so from a comfort standpoint. The other thing with the 1500, I had the capability of getting magnetic suspension in the Denali, so the ride is auto adjusting. It rides a whole lot smoother than the 2500. It has, like I mentioned, the electric power steering. It has the lane departure where it will pull your wheel back into the lane if it feels that you're going out of the lines. So just a whole lot of pluses about the gasoline version over the diesel for the way that I use it. You guys with pulling heavy trailers, pulling 13,000 pounds, pulling goosenecks, a 1500 is clearly not the truck for you. The majority of the people who have these trucks drive them around town. They haul some stuff. They haul light trailers. The diesel's honestly an overkill. So again, leave us some comments. Love to hear from you about your experiences. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Come back and visit us, and we look forward to your feedback, positive or negative. So I'm sure this will kind of poke the bear a little bit and get us some interesting feedback. So come back often, and thanks for visiting the Full Octane Garage.